for today's Photoshop challenge, we're going to learn how to do this cool double exposure image using a silhouette of a person and a landscape or a starry image. So we need to get our images first, and you can either look on a site like Unsplash, or you can do a Google image search and just make sure that under Tools, you look for images that are set to reuse with modification. So once you find your two images, we're going to open up our silhouette image first. So I'm going to go to File, Open, or Command O, and I'm going to find my silhouette. And if you get this pop-up, just click Open Image. Then I'm going to go to my Magic Wand tool. Now, your Magic Wand tool is usually in the same family of tools as your Quick Selection tool. So if you see the Quick Selection tool but not your Magic Wand tool, just click onto there and select Magic Wand. Then we're going to click into this black area here. Now, we want to kind of refine this selection. So I'm going to click on Select and Mask at the top. And here I can see my selection. Now, if you can't view it in this way, you can go down and view it here, or you can hit Y, and that will also show you this selection that you have. You might want to feather it a little bit. It's up to you. The feathering will make it softer, so be careful not to make it too soft so you don't lose your detail. And then you may want to shift the edge a little out, and that'll just make this a little wider or a little in. I'm going to shift mine a little out because then I'm getting a little bit more detail in his face and in the trees back here. So once you're happy with that, go ahead and hit OK. And then we're just going to mask this image. Now, because we had a transparent background, we need to put in a layer that will pull underneath here and put some white on. So click the new layer icon just down here at the bottom of your layers window. We're going to pull this layer underneath the first one, and we want to click on these two little squares here that'll set this to black and white, and then we want the white to be the foreground. We're going to go up to our paint bucket that might be hiding under the gradient tool if you can't see it, and we are going to click to set some white on there, and that's what that looks like. Looking pretty good. Okay, so now we get to do the fun part. We get to place in our landscape or our starry image to create the double exposure. So we're going to go to File, we're going to Place Embedded, and I am going to find my starry image here and place. There we go. Now you might want to zoom out, Command minus, and hold your Shift key down when you're expanding this if you need to. So here I have this nice starry image. I could do just stars, or I could leave a little bit of the mountains in there. And notice that I'm expanding this, or I'm scaling this larger than my workspace here, and that's okay. I will need to actually go ahead and make this a double exposure to do the rest of my adjustments here. I'm going to go ahead and hit return first though. Then as long as I'm selected here on this star or landscape layer, I'm going to go up to my blend modes here where it says normal and drop those down to either lighten or screen. So lighten looks like that. Screen looks like that. So screen is a little bit darker than lighten. Oh, actually, that's not true. Screen is a little bit lighter than lighten. So you can kind of decide which one you like. You can kind of go back and forth between those and see. I'm going to go back up to my Move tool. Make sure I have Show Transform Controls checked. And then I can go in and I can start to do, I could rotate this if I wanted to kind of see how that would look a little differently. If I want him to be mostly stars, I could kind of drag this over here and do that. Now, the last thing you may want to do, and this is just optional, is we may want to add in a little bit more detail up here. And to do that, what we're going to do is click on layer 1 and then create a transparent layer on top of that. And we're going to do that by clicking on the little new layer tab down here. Then I'm going to go in with just a regular paintbrush and black. So I want to have my black in the foreground color. I'm going to take my opacity down to below, or 20 or below really, would be fine. So 19 is fine. And I want to go into General Brushes and select Soft Round so that I have a nice soft brush. Now I can, let's see here, oh, my caps lock, no wonder. I can use my bracket keys. Those are the keys next to the P key on your iMac keyboards. If you have a different keyboard, that might be different. But your bracket keys will enlarge or decrease the brush. And then I can just kind of start painting in here. And if I paint in black, then that blend mode will start to show some of those stars in this area too. But it won't be, because I've taken the opacity down, it won't be quite as dramatic as the area where I've already masked. Now, if you don't like this at any point, if you, you can always walk this back with a Command Option Z, but if you find that you're not crazy about what you're seeing, you can always turn this off and create a new layer and try that again. But that's looking pretty good to me. After you've done this, you might even try to, move this around to see if maybe a different part of this landscape would look interesting in those areas where you're starting to mask in. I don't really like the mountain in there, but I kind of like those colors coming in, so I'm going to try to put those in there somehow. And you can always, you can always adjust this, so you can always go in and flip this too. If you're flipping it, hold down the Shift key so that you can get a perfect rotation there. And then you can try it from this side as well. And when you're happy, just hit return. And then when you're all done, you can save this as a JPEG file and upload it in our discussion. So have fun kind of experimenting with these double exposures and try some different images and different combinations, and I'm excited to see what you create. All right.